Guys have spent the summer getting to know each other on the floor. The chemistry that they have off the floor is really good. The other thing is we recognize that everybody, at this time of the year feels good about their team. But I will tell you, behind closed doors last year, at this time, my staff can tell you that I knew we had a challenge ahead of us in a lot of different areas. I sleep a lot better, our staff sleeps a lot better with this current roster. As you can tell from today, we're longer, we're bigger, we're more athletic, we shoot the ball better, we're deeper. So there's a lot of excitement within our program, and yet we also know that we have a lot of work. So our 8-week segment ends on Friday. A week from today, the guys will have like 20 days where they get to refresh their bodies and their minds and spend time with their family and their homes, and then they'll get back for the start of school year on August 25th, and then we go through about another 4 to 5 week segment where we're only allowed to practice an hour a week or 4 hours during the course of the week. So for us, a lot of excitement. Obviously, we had some brutal news the other day about Elijah Arenas. He's a special player, a special person, and all of you in this room and everybody on our team, we just want to support Elijah while he goes through his rehab. He's probably going to have surgery sometime next week. But with our team, it's like, hey, we lost a super talented player and a player that we were going to build around, and some of the pieces on our roster were put on the roster, quite frankly, to complement Elijah and the surrounding pieces, and now somebody else gets a new opportunity to step up in the minutes that Elijah was going to have and the role that he was going to have, and our length and athleticism. I think that we'll be able to plug and play different guys and be able to pick up the slack that we'll be missing from Elijah. But the cool thing is, when we started practice today, I didn't have Elijah following me around. Normally he walks behind me and asks questions, and Coach, I said to one of the assistants, where is Elijah? And they said, Coach, you sent him to academics to get ready for the start of the school year next year. He had an academic advisor meeting. So look, even though he's had the injury, he's part of the USC community. He's going to go to school. He's going to go on road trips with us. He's going to be one of our assistant coaches all year, and he'll give us great insight because he's got an incredible basketball mind even at his age. So, but with a lot of excitement. I don't know if anybody has any questions. I'd love to answer anything. If anybody has any questions, we can do that. If nobody has any, then that means we've done our job. But I can't reiterate enough, this showing at this time of year is incredible. So it looks like there's some other excitement besides just what's in our own offices and in our own locker room. Anybody got any questions?
I've got a mic if anyone wants to ask a question. I can walk it.
Go ahead.
I got it.
How are we going to bounce back without having Elijah Arenas? And who is going to be on your key players to step up this season?
Yeah, I think a great question. I think, for us, there's going to be, we're defining roles right now. And what I mean by that is we have 13 guys on scholarship. Without Elijah, we have 12 plus our walk-ons. And really those guys are going to determine their minutes, not me. And so if I stood up here and said, hey, here's going to be our top 3 scorers, here's going to be our top 3 leading rebounders, I would be doing, our team a disservice. Because one of the things that we talk about in our coaches' meetings all the time is it doesn't matter what a player did before they get here. His stats don't matter. What matters is what they do on the practice floor with us, and then what they do academically, and then what they do off the floor, and how much can we trust them. And so there's a lot of factors that go into roles and all that. And then once the season starts, even in November, I would love to say that that I'm super smart, and once we start the season in November, I'm going to know what our starting five is and what the rotation is. But I can guarantee you, whoever starts on opening night, that's not who will start our last game. It just doesn't happen that way if you have a coaching staff that's flexible and you have a coaching staff that has an open mind every day. Because we want our players to feel like they can come in and earn something every single day. And so I would love to tell you we're not in the NBA where, if you're coaching the Timberwolves, you know Anthony Edwards is your best player and you kind of know your rotation. With us, these are young student athletes that are still getting better. Some guys are going to really grow over the next 5 weeks. Some guys are going to grow once we get into the season. And then some guys are going to earn your trust. And there might be some guys that that you can't trust. And it'll be based on performance and things like that.
Coach, we got one from Scott over here.
First of all, I wanted to say how impressed I was with all the assistant coaches and all the guys stepping in. I think that's really cool to see. It's not just you passing out things that need to be done, but others are doing it. My question is, what's been your biggest positive surprise over the last 7 weeks that maybe you weren't expecting, or something that really has been encouraging to you with the team?
Well, first of all, with the staff stuff, you always want your staff to grow. And so the only way to really let the staff grow is to let them have a voice in practice. And even our graduate assistants, I mean, we have 3 guys on staff. 2 of them have been graduate assistants. Coach Root and Michael Musselman, those guys both started off as graduate assistants and have worked their way up. So you want your younger staff members to feel like they can coach. And I really don't ever put a limit on anybody coaching. And everyone's got their own roles. Like Coach Conroy is probably the best coach in the country in his individual instruction stuff that he does pre-practice. And so everybody kind of takes on a different role. Or Earl Boykins, who is new to our staff, is going to add perspective to our players because he's played for me. So when I go off in, whatever, Earl is able to grab the guys and kind of say, hey, this is what coach is trying to convey to you. And so everyone's got a different role and a responsibility and a way to help us. And I feel like we have as good a staff as anybody in the country currently right now, the way that we're constructed. From a chemistry standpoint, because players have chemistry, teammates have chemistry, and coaches have chemistry. And our chemistry amongst our group right now is probably as good as I've ever been. Nobody's stepping on anyone's toes, there's no ego, and it's the same thing you want with your team on a floor. And then I would say, as far as surprises, I think, you could probably go down each player and come up with some type of positive. But I would say that this early, the intensity that we can play with, the buy-in's been really good. We still have a lot more that we need to grow in to play at the pace and the intensity that I want us to have. But I think we're much further along than we were last year at this time. And then certain players, Jordan Marsh is a guy that I've spoken in front of the media and just said that, at his size, I didn't really know how he would fit. I think anytime a player goes from a lower level to a Power 5, and Jordan mentioned, the adjustment that he's going through, maybe finishing at the rim around different players than he played against last year. But it's interesting as a coach, you kind of, you evolve. Like, I've had all these tall point guards in college. That's something that I really wanted to have. And then we bring Jordan in, and we're in a meeting, and Jordan didn't come on a recruiting visit. He committed without a visit. And I walked back after we met face to face, and I said, "Damn, Jordan's small." Earl Boykins raised his hand. He said, "Coach, I played for you too." Because Earl's 5'5", Earl? And so And so I go back and think about like the point guards that I had at the NBA level, and it was Earl Boykins, it was Speedy Claxton at 5'10", it was Mike Bibby at 6'1". So there was a lot of NBA players that I had at a really, that didn't have great size. And so now I'm looking at the playbook and going back to some of the things that we did with a smaller point guard and pace of play. And I think that Jordan can really help in that area. And I'm bringing Jordan and Gabe Dines up just because those two guys coming in the door probably didn't get as much recognition based on where they played before. But, Gabe at his size adds a different dimension to who we can potentially be defensively with his shot blocking ability. And historically, when you look at bigs, meaning players over 6'10", they develop and keep getting better and better. And so his ceiling is super, super high for him individually, and then for what he can do for our team as well.
Any other questions? Big Al in the back wants to ask one. Alex Stevenson, ladies and gentlemen.
What's up, Coach? How is your style of play, or going into the next season after your first year in the Big Ten? Have you seen anything that you want to adjust, or because the Big Ten is traditionally kind of slow and you're pushing the pace? Is there any adjustments that you see you want to make next season?
I think the best adjustment is always better players. Improve your talent level is always the easiest thing. But you're right, Coach. I mean, in the Big Ten, it's slower, more physical. We would like to play more like an NBA team. We would like to play more like an SEC team. And in order to do that, you've got to have speed, length, quickness, and then you better be tough. We might have some players that are not as physically imposing or as physically looking strong as some other Big Ten teams, but we hope that we'll be able to outreact them, outquick them. And then if you are undersized, meaning somebody's got a little bit more weight than you, somebody's a little bit bulkier than you, got to have great toughness in some of the schemes that you do. Like, we might have to front the post if we play with a smaller group. And then when you do front the post, are you able to block out, bigger, stronger? Because there are going to be some teams like Purdue that are coming into the building this year. Michigan State was a great example last year with great size, but I thought even last year our quickness and ability to outreact them. So we don't want to necessarily look and be like a Big Ten team. We want to play a little bit different style. We want to play like Oklahoma City Thunder do and share the basketball, but also play with great pace.
Coach, I think we got two more here. Time for two more.
Hi, Coach. Thanks for taking my question. It looked like the big guys could use some more weight on. Are you working on that?
Well, Biggs, did you hear that? We are working on it. I mean, we feel like we have, the best strength coach in the country in Andre. He's been with 3 different NBA teams. I think, one of the things when we have a postseason meeting with all of our guys and we kind of ask them to evaluate different parts of our program, the one area that just stands out is probably as the highest grade as possible is our strength room. So, I've never been a coach that really wanted bulkiness. Sometimes a player can be super skinny, but they can be really wiry strong. Obviously, we want our guys to do it like Gabe has already put on 17 pounds. So the weight room is a big part. We're using, our maximum amount of time, which is 4 hours a week in that weight room. So hopefully we look a little bit different, a little bit better. In your opinion, if we need to look better before November 1st, we got to get in the weight room a little bit more, guys.
All right, last one.